Hello everybody, hope you're having a nice day or a nice night. This place remains perpetually unfinished. That's okay, I'm not going to worry about it right now. You know, last night I went and saw a movie, went to the movies. I had been invited by a friend group. I saw 28 years later. The thing about that is that I actually already saw that movie because a different friend group had invited me to go see it. It was the second time. But you know, last night was a Tuesday, it was $5 Tuesday. They had the recliners, the heated seats, everything you could ever want, right? It's pretty nice. It was a good viewing experience. And it's a good movie, too. I'm someone who is, I've always been very critical of movies and film in general. I guess that's because, I don't know, am I passionate about it? Maybe. I was a film major. I'm more into editing myself. But, I don't know, I'm just very critical. Please leave me be. Okay. I saw a bunch of movies recently because I've been on, like, vacation. July 4th vacation. And I know in Canada they had July 1st vacation, right? Maybe a lot of people had vacations around the world, I don't know. I saw the Jurassic World movie. I think that's number 7. That's quite a lot. And I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not a spoiler. Don't worry, but I do want to talk about it a little bit. Oh yeah, look at this. I've got quite the haul of Obsidian. This took me an hour and 45 minutes of constant Obsidian mining. I have an AFK Obsidian farm, but it did take me a while. Anyway, the thing about Jurassic World, this one was probably better than the last 2, I'll say. Yes, I've watched them all. No, I don't remember everything that happens in them. I think that this movie took a lot of the stuff that worked from the other movies and kind of mashed it into one film. You could probably tell that from the trailer. So it's like an okay summer flick. The beginning is like kind of but it picks up. It's alright. That's my opinion. The thing is, I'm realizing something. I was never impressed by seeing dinosaurs on screen. I just never was. And I think the reason that is because I'm just part of a different generation. It's a generational divide, right? If you're a millennial, or a Gen Xer, or even before that, you grew up learning about dinosaurs in school. That's it, right? Maybe you saw them on cartoons or something. But you heard about them, you read about them, whatever. And then, you know, Jurassic Park drops, and then you see them on screen for the first time, and it's an amazing visual effect. It's like nothing else that has hit movies before, right? It's very realistic. They did a very good job. So it's probably a pretty amazing experience. And then they keep making them. 2 and 3, right, came out. I like 2 a lot. 3 was okay, but it was interesting. But the thing is, you know, I'm 23. I'm a Gen Zer. So I grew up in an age where Jurassic Park movies always existed. I don't know. It just wasn't that special to me, I guess. The novelty of the accomplishment of bringing those creatures to life on a screen is lost on me and people in my age group, because not only did we grow up with those movies existing, but there's also lots of effects, right? Technology had come a long way. So I guess when I think of the Jurassic Park movies, or I watch them, it's just like people getting chased by a monster, right? People getting chased by a monster that wants to kill them. And that's a lot of movies. Just the fact that it's dinosaurs doesn't make it any different or special to me. I mean, I can appreciate it. I could imagine that if it were real, it would probably be very cool, right? I also read both of Michael Crichton's books. Is that how you say it, Crichton, or is it Crichton? I don't know. I read both of them. I got a 2-in-1, right? I got one book that had both of his books in there. They were pretty good. They were very scientific, and they were very, I think, intelligently written. Different characters and different fates for all the characters. Now, anyway, I'm just killing time because I'm talking, right? But I mean, that's okay. I haven't been on this world in a little bit because of the vacation. And I kind of missed it, you know? Occasionally, the novelty of what I'm doing, going back and playing old versions of Minecraft, is lost on me, just like the movies of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, right? That's because I just play it so much. But if I take a long break and then I come back to it, it feels kind of like magic, you know? Like, it's just cool. So behind this little tree farm here is this big, well, it looks like a basement, I guess, that I dug out a long time ago, very long time ago, when this world was new and I needed cobblestone. I started digging out this basement because I thought I would probably turn it into something, and I just needed a reason to dig, right? But over time, I've mostly kind of given myself to other projects. And I never really worked on this. I did a little bit of decorating. I did a little bit of mining when I needed cobblestone fast, right? But, you know, other than that, I haven't really touched it. A while ago, I did decide what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be an expansion of this tree farm. I wanted to have a castle-like structure that had roofs that you could grow trees on, because that thing has 43 trees available to chop, and that ends up not being enough a lot of the time. So I want to have a structure that can house a lot more trees and is also easy to navigate. But I kept putting this off because it's so ornately decorated that I didn't know, you know, how to approach it. After thinking about it, I decided I need to just kind of let go of worrying about getting the build right. You know what I mean? I just think I'm going to procedurally build this, like keep just adding on to the build, decorating where I like to decorate, you know, like these pillars, and just see where that takes me. I'm not gonna worry about it too much, I think. That's why I mined all this obsidian up, because this place was using obsidian. The other thing I was waiting on was an obsidian farm that I could use to help build this place. It's a very cool block. Oh, look at this. I don't think I've ever showed this off. Before I had the AFK obsidian farm, I had this thing. Yeah, I just had this little railway down here. I would just come, I'd mine out this one little lava lake, and it was very slow. So thank goodness I have the new obsidian farm. But everything that you saw that I hadn't placed before... Oh! Everything you saw that was already here, I mined, you know, down there. That's where I got it. So it's still missing some, so I am going to go around and try to replace it, put down the obsidian, and finish up what this is supposed to look like. That involves like building up these walls and stuff and completing these floors. But I like this pattern a lot so far. I think it'll look really cool once it's done. Alright, I just cooked up a stack of glass. While I was waiting for that to cook, I made some tea. And I wanted to try something a little bit different. I decided to make this 2023 missile, which is a pu'er. I don't know if it's Sheng or Shu pu'er. But I had it imported from China. It's from White 2T. And typically it's supposed to be drank Gong Fu style, as in steep a little bit in a gaiwan over and over and over again. But I'm a Western man, and I like Western style tea a little bit more. I like to do a Gong Fu tea ceremony every once in a while, but I still prefer Western style. So I decided I would make this 2023 missile in an infuser. And I have a lot of infusers, actually. I have quite a bit. I've just collected them. I don't really know where I got all of them, to be honest with you, but they all have their uses. A few of them are pretty much the same. Some of them fit different size cups. Some of them have larger holes. Some of them are mesh. Some of them are stainless. One of them is like foldable, so it's easier for transportation. So anyway, I figured I would brew this tea up in an infuser. So the thing about pu'er, especially imported pu'er, the first thing you usually want to do is you want to rinse it. This is pretty standard procedure in a Gong Fu tea ritual type deal. So that's what I did. I basically did the same thing. I just put the tea in the strainer. It comes in these little tea cakes, by the way, that I think are pretty cool. You're normally supposed to break them apart with like a tool or something, but I just use my hands because, well, I don't have a lot left. And I don't really think it makes a ton of a difference. But yeah, put it in the infuser, rinse it over the sink, as in pour a little hot water over it. And that gets off some of the dust, and it also helps wake up the tea leaves. So they're all compressed and they're all folded. But once they're exposed to hot water, they'll unfurl a little bit, and it helps you get more flavor. So after that, you know, I just steeped it like you would any kind of tea, only for like a minute, tops. And then I made use of some specialty honey that I have. I put honey in all my tea. It's my thing. That's how I prefer to drink it. And I had been gifted this lemon-flavored honey. I figured it could benefit from a touch of lemon. So yeah, kind of complicated, but hopefully it has a very nice end result. Here's a live taste test. Huh. That's good. I'll be honest with you, that honey I didn't use a lot, but it is very strong. That being said, it kind of reminds me of yogurt. Just a little bit. Or like a custard. Very, 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 very light, of course, because it's tea. It's good though, I really like this. Best part about pu'er tea is that you can just kind of re-steep it again and again, lots of times, and that's definitely what I'm going to do. This is really good. I really liked how this turned out, actually. New favorite way to drink tea. That's very nice. Sorry, anyway. So my idea here was to dig out these holes in this floor pattern and put obsidian and torches there. Now I already did do that, okay? But I only put them 1 block deep, and that was a pretty terrible mistake because I had to break these slabs to place full slab blocks underneath it, and then I have to break the obsidian, which takes a long time, so it's just kind of wasteful, unfortunately. At one point, I really wanted this place to be a giant pool, wanted to fill it full of water, and that's a huge project, obviously. I was like, well, I want you to be able to see the floor pattern, so I thought if I put torches down here, and then I filled it full of water, but then I put ice blocks over these, you know, the ice blocks would melt, but when ice blocks melt, they don't update, so it wouldn't flow and break the torches. I tried that somewhere else, and it didn't work, so now I'm realizing I should probably just have dug them a little deeper and put glass down. I can't see a way to make this work, to maneuver this the way that I want to, so it's just going to be glass in the floor, and that's okay. That being said, I'm pretty much out of stone. I used up almost all the stone that was over here at this base. I was playing around with different designs for the walls because originally they were all just this like little checker pattern down here with snow and then 1 snow block. And I thought that was too plain. So do I dig a hole in? Do I highlight it with snow? This is like a similar shape. And I settled on this one. I think this is my favorite. I mean, it's really simple, but I like it. It really just needed another color kind of around the snow block. And I'm gonna leave it at that. But again, I need more stone, so I gotta go back to the quarry. I mean, you know, I don't really have any food over here. I mean, I have mushrooms, but I don't want to eat mushrooms because they're not renewable. I have a few pork chops. All right, I'm gonna take some of these logs with me because I'm sure that I am lacking them at other bases. I have pretty big plans for this place, you know. I want it to be the place on this world I can go to get massive quantities of logs and ship them all over the world. This is looking really cool though, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, I feel like this has a lot of potential. Alright, here we go. Zoop. It's kind of exciting. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but I am just going to keep adding on to it. You know, one day I wouldn't mind building more pixel art too, because I just have the Mario. Pixel art's kind of hard. I did try making a boat, but I don't think I had the right colors for it, so who knows, maybe I could try something out again. But yeah, once that tree farm thing is finally finished, I want to start work on this city. I want a city to be in the center of the world. I've wanted it for a long time, and I have a lot of ideas. I even want to have an undercity and just some cool stuff. I want to have a giant skyscraper here. I've been thinking about the design of that thing for a while. We got wood over here. Here, they could use some more. But I wanted all my farms, my stone quarry, my wood place, my mining area, and then maybe even my passive mob farm for wool reasons, but I don't really think I'm lacking in wool right now. I wanted them all done before I started that thing, but that's kind of the last step. Also the obsidian farm, which is, again, that's complete. So once that tree farm place is done, I can start working on the center of the world. There's a very straightforward progression to all of this. I have plans and they take steps, and I think that that's kind of cool. I'd recommend doing it in your own world, you know, if you're bored. Think of a multi-step plan and how to get something. Yeah, I do need some logs over here. Look at that. I found a C418 album that I don't think I've listened to yet. It's called Mixes, and, well, it's a bunch of mixes. They flow seamlessly into each other. You don't even know where one song starts and one begins. It's pretty good. I think it hits its peak in the center. I haven't listened to the last 2 songs yet, but I'm enjoying it, for background music at the very least. I'm gonna go get that egg. Why? I don't know. I don't need them. I also finished listening to Wanderstop recently. That's his most recent album for the game of the same name. I started it a long time ago, then I put it off, and then I was like, oh, I'll listen to it again. So I listened to it all the way through. Really good. It really grew on me. In the beginning, I was like, this is repetitive. But like, after listening to the whole thing all the way through, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's also probably one of the longest albums ever. It has something like 80 songs. It's very good, and I would recommend it. I'm sure there's other albums by him that I haven't found yet, but I'm a pretty big C418 fan. Oh yeah, anyway. I drank up my first cup of tea, so I went and re-steeped the same leaves. I did it for 3 minutes because I got sidetracked. I want to do 2 minutes, but oh well. And I used normal honey this time. I didn't use any flavored honey. Even while I was drinking the first cup, the flavor profile evolved a little bit from when I first described it. And it made me realize that this tea was probably not meant to be drank Western style. It was meant to be done Gong Fu style. And I can tell, one, because of the flavor, which isn't bad, but two, because it's starting to hurt my stomach, and it's starting to make my heart pound a little bit, because that's what some strong pu'er can do that to you. I don't know. It's akin to coffee and espresso. This is meant to be drank as coffee, but I turned it into espresso. Does that make sense? I don't know if it makes sense. It's like concentrated version, I guess. Anyway, this is the second cup. I don't know how this is going to taste. You're going to get another live reaction here. It's a little bitter now. I put more honey, a little more sweetener. That is definitely different. It smells a lot stronger. It also tastes a lot stronger too, as pu'er tends to do over time. Now, most smart and intelligent people probably would not have Western brewed their imported pu'er tea, but I'm not one of those, so I can do what I want. I never really do this. One of the teas that I really like to Western brew, even though it's pretty much meant to be done in a gaiwan, is a stone milk oolong. Oolong teas of any kind, really. Oolong's my favorite. It's just so unique. It's so different from any other tea that you could have. Usually like a Western tea company like Celestial or Stash or Harney & Sons, they have an oolong flavor. It's just called oolong. And it's silly to me because there's 100,000 kinds of oolong, right? There's this one called duck shit oolong. I think the reason it's called that is because the farmers who were growing this specific leaf didn't want people to steal it, so they named it something unappetizing. I want to try it, I really do. I want to try some other stone oolongs as well. And some milk oolongs. Stone milk oolong, best of both worlds. I am no means a tea expert, but there's a lot I haven't tried, and that stuff is definitely expensive. It's especially expensive now. It's pretty good though. It's kind of taking on like a toasty undertone. Probably because I oversteeped it. Look, I'm going to be mining for a long time. I'm realizing to build that castle, I'm going to need a lot of stone. So I'm probably just going to do this for the rest of the entire day, which is fine. I'm not going to subject you to it. I got some videos pulled up. I have some Ethan Chablowski like food science videos. I have one on coffee and then one on pasta sauce. There's this really cool world tour I wanted to watch by Poptavius. He did this really cool thing. He took an entire end of world, which is a limited world if you don't know, mined the whole thing out, and rebuilt it all, like reshaped the whole world. He used all the resources. I haven't watched it all the way through, maybe like the first few minutes, but I will watch it while I'm doing this. There's some Lore Lodge videos I can watch, you know, maybe. So yeah, I'm gonna do this for a while. But it'll be worth it. Hey. Oh wait, what is this? Look at that, there's a tiny cave in here. Anticlimactic, huh? Alright, I wish I had taken a before photo, but I mined a lot. I think I have over a double chest, 2 double chests, sorry, of cobblestone. I never had that much at one time. I got really in the groove, I just kept mining. This is a pretty cool view, especially when you cycle through fog stages. That's cool. So it's interesting, the reason I never did it all at once, which is kind of what I wanted to do, I just wanted to do one layer of this entire thing at a time, is because, well, it's split up into 16 by 16 chunks, which are traced out in the ceiling here by the wood. So at first I just mined one chunk in the corner over there, and then I did this one, and then I did like one random one in the middle. And then I started trying to start other chunks, but to start a new chunk to mine in, I had to remove a lot of dirt first. So, because there's this top dirt layer, and I don't have a lot of use for dirt. So if I was on a time crunch and needed some cobblestone, or I wanted to just be fast, get some cobble quick for a build, I wouldn't start a new chunk. I would just continuously mine an existing chunk. But sometimes if I'm just taking it easy, I'll start a new one. So now we just kind of have these shapes, these steps here. It's a little bit different. Although maybe at one point I will get it all the way down to the same level, and then I'll be able to mine it at one level at a time. That'd be very interesting, I think. Yeah, the deepest I've got it is right in that area, 17 blocks deep. That's it. I don't know how to calculate how much I've mined. Anyway, I got my inventory pretty much filled. Even my crafting table spots are taken up. So I think that's good. Good enough to take to the base. Although I should probably grab some coal. I don't have a whole lot of that, do I? Might need to make multiple trips, that's fine. There. full stack. So that tea I made earlier, I made a horrible mistake. I think that was about 10 grams of tea leaves. I thought it was pu'er. It was not pu'er. It was black tea. It was a very raw black tea that had been a little bit aged and a little bit fermented. Black tea is very high in caffeine, especially when it's imported and specialized like that stuff is. 10 grams of it, steeped into a cup. It was about 10 ounces in that mug. And then I did it again. That's an insane dosage of caffeine, especially since you're supposed to drink it Gong Fu style, like tiny little teacups at a time. I drank 20 ounces of it. That's an insane amount. I am not usually affected by caffeine. Sometimes I try to drink coffee to stay awake. It doesn't work for me. It never has. I was not able to fall asleep till 7 in the morning. I was up till 7 in the morning. I was not able to fall asleep at all. That was rough, man. I was just laying down, like waiting for sleep to come. My chest is pounding, my legs are shaking. I'm coming up with all these crazy ideas I want to make videos about. Or the stuff I want to do next in this world. I never fell asleep, so I just got up and then just killed time till 7 in the morning. It went by very fast. I watched the sun come up. So I don't recommend doing what I did. I should have researched what tea that was. I just assumed it was pu'er, but no, it was a black tea. So there you go. Now, there was a point, I found this minigame server that was running on beta 173. It had been posted to the Golden Age Minecraft subreddit, but the post was taken down for breaking like the promotion rules or whatever. But I joined, I checked it out, I invited a few people. We played, there was 3 games, they're kind of broken, but they're very retro, like very classic experiences. There was Spleef, Hot Potato, and TNT Run. And TNT Run didn't work that great. But it was really fun, It's rare that you would play a competitive server that isn't very sweaty, for lack of a better term. Because I invited people who are normal onto it, or normal competitive people, or casual competitive people, you could say. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. The owner apparently is going to be releasing some more games soon, so I'm going to hopefully get a chance to check it out. But it's a cool experience. It's really a throwback. I'll probably post a link to a Reddit post with the IP in the description. I don't know if I should post the IP directly, but if you want to check it out, feel free. I think it deserves some attention. Alright, so I did a little bit of building, and this is what I have. It's kind of hard to appreciate with the snow falling all over everything. Eventually I'm going to have a roof, at least my hope. I think it's going pretty well. The top here, I'm not convinced on how that looks. It's something I tried a ton of different designs for how I would top this off, and I'm not really sure I like how any of them turned out, to be honest. So I just went with this one. I think I'm gonna just let it go. I think it looks okay for now. I also finished the floor up. Put all these torches underneath here. Let's get a look at it from above. I think it looks pretty cool, especially from up here. So the next thing I was going to do is going to add a walkway around here. I would decorate that any which way, and then I would build this building from there. This ended up being a lot taller than I expected it would be, but that's fine. I want to add a walkway around here so you can look down into this area, and then I have to figure out between this walkway where the walls of this building are going to be. My idea is, for this structure, I still kind of want to fill this with water and make it into a giant pool, just because I think it would be really cool to have a giant pool somewhere. And I am very tedious about it. I fill every single layer, not just the top layer, and then let it flow down, I don't want to listen to flowing water if I can help it. What I thought would be really cool is if I knocked down that wall right there, and I had a staircase going from this walkway down to here, and that led out. Maybe there's a tiny dock right here or something like that. And then in this pool there's a boat, and then you can get in the boat and you can boat around. There's nowhere else in the world that I can really drive a boat around because it's all iced up. So it would be cool if I had something like that inside this structure. And then you would take the boat on this little pool down that hallway, and at the end of that hallway there would be a water elevator. So just a column of water, and when you put boats into columns of water, they rise straight up. So you'd go straight up, and then there'd be another channel up top that leads over to the length of this thing. Okay, so it goes up and over. At the end, there's a hole that falls back down to this pool. So that'd be the way you could get to the second story of this structure. You'd walk down, get in the boat, drive the boat over to here, go up, then you'd be at the top, You can do whatever you need to do up there, chop trees. You're done, you take it to the end of the channel, and it falls down here. I think that's a pretty cool idea, but we shall see how that turns out. I guess that means I still have some digging to do over in this area. I just had a pretty nice desk fist. You know, it's like breakfast, but at a desk. That's so corny. I'm sorry. Breakfast sandwich, some black and pu'er tea mixed with heavy cream. I didn't experiment with that one. I bought it that way. Sometimes it's nice to just stick with tradition, you know what I mean? You know something? I've had this crafting table floating in the air, I think longer than 50% of this world's life. It's just been sitting here. I've never moved it. I'm going to keep it there a little longer, but it has to go eventually. I'm not going to form a sentimental attachment to silly things like this, although it is tempting. Anyway, I started decorating this hallway here. I wasn't really sure what to do. I tried a few designs, and then I came up with this. I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of art, just on a flat surface. So I have this little wiggle going here that kind of bleeds into this shape. And originally I had this cobblestone as an obsidian shape in the center, but I switched it out. I thought this was kind of cooler. I don't know. I really do wish I had a darker block. Somewhere between obsidian color and cobblestone color. I do wish I had a darker block. I'm almost tempted to, make a mod or something just to add. Maybe like stone bricks, like a dark stone brick. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Speaking of mods, I was planning on one day making another painting museum, but it's modern art inspired, using a mod to add new paintings that I made for the game. I think that would be pretty cool. I would put it in the city that I keep talking about building, so that's a project for further down the line, I think. But that's surprisingly pretty easy to do. Adding a block, on the other hand, I don't think is that easy or intuitive. I did try to do that once. I tried to make a mod one time. I used this tutorial that I found, I think it was by Zyga, on how to add a block to the game. Not to dig him, because he's the only guy with a tutorial, but I was following along with this, and then every once in a while he'd say, oh, I forgot this one step, you're going to have to go all the way back to the beginning and start over, and it was already such a learning curve for me. I got so frustrated and gave up. I spent like an entire day trying to figure out how to do it, because I'm not a programmer, I don't understand this stuff. Anyways. This is cool. Cool shape here I have in the floor. I like to just detail everything and make everything ornate and put designs on things, and that's the easiest way to build. I don't like tearing things down a million times and trying to rebuild it to think of something better. I don't like doing that. I've already kind of done that up here, and I'm still, man, I don't know. I'm still not totally satisfied with how this turned out. I'm very heavily considering changing this, and I think that the way that I would change it is I would remove those slab blocks on top of every one of these pillars. I would remove these line things and everything between them, and then I would just use stone and I would make a curve. I just make a curve right there. I mean, that wouldn't be too hard to do. It's very tempting. I might end up just trying it, but again, tearing down and rebuilding, it's not my favorite thing to do. Maybe instead of cobblestone inside of these shapes, I should do another torch well. I should put them somewhere. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to get a picture of how this is supposed to look with snow everywhere, for goodness sakes. I was thinking on minigames the other night, and I thought it'd be really cool to build a gambling machine, like a redstone gambling computer. I built one before in beta a while ago, 2 years ago, and that was tons of fun to figure out how the redstone would work in an older version. That one used pistons to make slots, like to move blocks up and down, and then you had to line up the blocks and to get a prize or a certain prize. There were different types of prizes based on the combinations you would get. Here in Alpha, you can't do that. There's no pistons, but I figured I could think of ways around these types of redstone, lack of certain redstone features, because there is just torches, redstone dust, 2 types of pressure plates, a button, a lever, doors, 2 types of doors, that's it. Of course, you can do a lot more than you would think with that. I'd have to use a lot of alpha mechanics to try to make that happen. But I've been thinking about that a lot. I think it would make a pretty fun video just to dedicate to making this computer. I might even put a little bit more effort into it, because I like to do that sometimes, I like to be a little artsy-fartsy occasionally. I'm considering using clay in this build somewhere. I've considered it a few times, but it's such a limited resource that, I don't have a lot of it. I think I have, 10.5 stacks. Here, I know I got some in other places, but still, it's very expensive. The hard part, and one of the tempting things that's going to happen later down the line, is that I already have an established design here. But as I continue to build this place, it might become a little bit more difficult to build because I'm going to be like, oh, I have to make sure that what I'm designing and building for the rest of this structure fits with the rest of the build. And I don't, should I just make this all obsidian? No, that's too expensive. I'll just do a little bit obsidian. How about that? Oh, I'm stuck in here now. But yeah, like I've established a design kind of, or a theme down here, so making sure that applies to the rest of the build. I usually get caught up in that, like I have a bout of inspiration. I design something that I think is really cool for like one section, and I'm like, oh, well, this is just a portion of the build. Now I have to build the rest. And as I'm building the rest, I get really caught up in making it look like the original design that I had for that small section. And so it just becomes a headache after that. I've run into this very often, I think. I should just use the water to get out. Look at that. So to avoid that, I'm just going to keep designing this as I've been designing it, try to make it look ornate, and not really worry about that kind of detail. I am going to copy some design principles, maybe like the pillars, but I'm mostly going to try to keep this a pretty diverse build. All right, I'm definitely going to change this. I want to see how it looks with the way that I'm thinking it. I know that my new idea is a little bit basic, but we'll see. Well, look at this. The chicken left us a gift. I like that a lot better. I think that looks a lot better. I mean, I know I'm going with this sharp angle thing, sharp angle, then smooth curve kind of deal. Which a lot of like Gothic structures do that. They layer sharp angle, then they do a smooth curve. That's something that I've noticed. And I guess I am mimicking that, which is not a bad thing. But now that I have this there, those obsidian stripes don't look like they belong there. They don't look like they belong there. You know what else doesn't look like it belongs there is these. Or at least this. You know, those slabs there. It sucks because it's such a pain to kind of remove. But I'm going to take those out. Did I drop any blocks over here? I did. I'm going to take those out, change these up completely, and I'm just going to have this entire side done in a different style and then compare it how it looks over here. But I already like this. I already like how this looks. It could maybe use a little bit more detailing, but so far I think this is pretty good. All right, here we are again, questioning my judgment. But that looks a lot better. I even did this corner over here. I had it come diagonally across instead of into a 90-degree angle. And I think that turned out a lot better. And now that that's done, I love how this looks. I feel like this would be a really good ceiling trim. You know what I mean? For the top of this building, this type of design. I don't know why I slept on it. I guess it would be too basic, but it ends up being very nice. So that means I have to bust this up again, probably for the 5th time. That's okay. It's just the obsidian takes so long to mine. It's 15 seconds per block, if you didn't know. And I have to figure out what to put torches. I think maybe I do put these slab blocks back there. It didn't actually end up looking so bad. So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with putting those there. And overall, I think it looks pretty good. So that means I'm pretty much keeping the obsidian accents and the snow accents down below. And I'm okay with that. So that means up top, the theming is a little bit more consistent, just keeping the slab, cobble, and stone. And you can't see it anyways now because it's pitch black, so whatever. I think hopefully this is the last time I come down here to show you what little minute changes I have made, but that's part of the process, you know. It is a labor of love. Like I probably have mentioned, I've accepted the fact that that's part of the building process. I know it can get kind of frustrating. It's not my favorite thing to do, to rebuild things over and over again. Alpha is a slow experience. Everything is slower than it is in modern. I think it's okay that I spend a little extra time working on something. I'm not in any kind of rush to get this done. I probably, at the rate that I'm going, this definitely won't be done by the end of the video. But, I mean, that tower took me 2 videos to finish, so I think that's okay. Just that one tower over there. And it's a pretty tower, but I don't know if I'm going to keep that design principle over here, now that I'm getting into it. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I still got to do this floors design down here. Forgot about that. Oops. It's turning out pretty cool, though. I do wish this had a little bit of depth, but I don't know where to put it, so that's fine. The roof will have some dynamic shapes that I think will make up for that. I just checked. I am approaching 300 hours on this world, which is crazy. Anyway, I went around and I broke all the leaves that were bumping into this wall. I was just bored. I went around and I broke them all. And it seems to have made a considerable difference. Now they're really going through the stages of despawning. I was a little worried that the slabs might also count as full blocks that the leaves would attach to and prevent despawning at, which is possible. I could run on top actually and destroy them and see if I can actually get all these leaves to despawn, because that would be crazy. I always just burn them, you know. I just burn them because it's easier. I just wanted to see if it was possible. I really gotta get up here, don't I? I don't ever come up here. This building is useless. It's just cool looking, I guess. It houses a single gold block as a bell. Look at that. That's cool, right? Well, let's get down there. Yeah, alright, so anywhere these leaves are touched, I don't even know if diagonal is important or not. I'm going to assume it's not, but just in case, I'm going to destroy them. So the reason leaf decay is bugged is because I think it's just checking for any old block, whether it decays or not. It doesn't have to be a log. If it's attached to the ground, if it's attached to a wall or anything, it'll tell the tree not to decay. So that's why they stick around most of the time. That's also why I always carry around flint and steel. But I think if I can detach it from every single block, it should all decay. And when I went around, I started over there, I went around and I broke all the leaves touching the walls. It started to decay a lot faster, which was an immediate change from what I usually observe. And because of that, I got a lot more saplings. I want a lot more. It's nice to have a reserve stock. But look, yeah, they're breaking up. Look at that go. Seems like it's going pretty fast now. Of course, this is way too tedious to do every single time. But I think something that I can at least try to help encourage leaf decay is that when I have the tree farms on, you know, the roofs of these buildings, I'm not going to have any walls, so no blocks for the leaves to stick to, potentially. This is quite a larger yield of saplings than I normally get. That's pretty good. I wonder if I left a log in here, though. I hope not. Look at it. It's really going away. Well, while that's despawning, I am going to make a cobblestone run, because I am out. I'm out of cobblestone. I'll take some of these with me, some of these logs with me that I got from this harvest, which really wasn't very much. I'm not going to do any mining while I'm there, so I'll just drop everything off in here. And carry over as much as possible this way. Sword just... Nah, I don't need the sword. It's fine. Oh, yeah, I'm Steve now. I like to be Steve occasionally. Before I go, let's take a look at this. I don't know if I showed it off yet. So this is all done. I think I showed that already. This in here has seen some more progress, so I did up the floor. We've got torches underneath here and torches in the corners of these pillars. I have these roofs done up. I forgot the torches over here. That's a shame. But yeah, this is all done. And again, this is going to be filled with water. I think it's going to be 4 blocks deep. Over here, I was planning on making the water chute, the falling water that comes straight down. And so I wasn't going to spend a ton of time decorating this. I was just going to put little ports that have light in it so you can at least see a little bit. And it's going to take you up very, very high. And then there's going to be a channel, like a little canal you can ride down in your boat. That's the idea. But yeah, that cobblestone really went a long way. The cobblestone I brought over, I feel like I got a lot done with just that. And this looks pretty freaking cool. I mean, I am excited to see how it turns out when I have the overstructure. I don't know when that's going to happen. Alright, let's take our minecart. Sometimes I miss walking. I mean, I used to just walk from place to place, and now I just, you know, get on one of these things and just sit and wait. Oh, cow's gone. Whereas like walking through the forest or something like that is a little bit more compelling visually. I don't know, something about it that I like. Maybe I should make a path one day. I would like to make a walkable path from here to the center of the world. It's not like it's crazy far. I mean, this is technically faster to use this railway. There's a lot of things I want to do. I mean, I always talk about my plans for this world. I come up with plans faster than I can enact them. Zoop. I wonder what this world would look like with an isometric screenshot. Of course, everything's so far apart from each other, they wouldn't all be in the same render. You know what's cool? Old renders of, like, city builds from, like, 10 years ago. 10, 12 years ago. Silver Age Minecraft, or maybe even Bronze, like, just say pre-Microsoft Minecraft. Builds of cities that were rendered with Chunky. I really liked looking at those when I was young, because I always imagined building one myself. I never did, but I always wanted to. And it felt very special. I feel like I've talked about this before. I don't know if I have or not. But I'm hoping that the city in the center of the world I want to build will evoke some of the feeling that I get when I look at those. We'll see. I want it to be brighter. You know, like over here, it's all very gray. I have some ideas for buildings that have lighter colors, like making use of snow or something. And just not tons of colors you can work with. I can maybe accent some things. With wood, I suppose. Can't forget. There we go. How many stacks is that? It's 9 by 4, 36, and then 2. 38 stacks? Not bad. Should last me... You know what I need to get? I need to get coal. I don't have any coal over there. I can't even cook any of this stuff without coal. I don't hardly have any coal over here, though. That's the problem. Yeah, that's substantial, I guess. Alright, get back in there. Sorry if you can hear the rain. Zoop. Someone left a comment on one of my videos asking, like, what are my tips on how to play Alpha 1.1 or something? And first I thought, like, what tips do you need? You know, I feel like it's self-explanatory, but I thought about it a little bit more, and I realized that there is a little bit of a learning curve. You know, there's mechanics you might not be familiar with. You know, what launcher do you use? What features are missing that you might not expect? What kind of seed do you pick? Those kinds of things. And I started writing a script. And I wrote 5 different tips, and then I'm like, well, I could write probably 5 more. So I made it a list of 10. So it's 10 tips. I haven't written a script in a long time. It's kind of fun, you know, when I have something like a clear goal in mind. And I like to be creative. That'll come out in this channel. I want to make that video at some point in the next few months, I'd say. I haven't done anything like that on here, but I think that if I posted it in the other channel, it probably wouldn't be watched. Especially since I think that kind of content would be most suited to this crowd, right? So it'd be the first time releasing that kind of video on this channel. And like I said earlier, I like to be creative. I like to put a little more effort into editing and making something nice and appealing. Look out for that, maybe. It'll be helpful. I'm not sure. All right. Here we are. Coming back. All right, so things are evolving. I finished that tube over there. At least I mostly finished the interior of it. I created this channel that I was talking about, and then I have this hole that you can fall down through when the boat is here, and it's not a perfect circle because this isn't perfectly spaced in any kind of regard, but oh well, it looks good enough. And then I started working on a pathway so you could walk around here. And then I started working on a pathway so I could walk around here, and I ran out of stone. I had been cooking most of my stone into smooth stone, so that's probably why I ran out of it sooner rather than later, and also just so many slabs. These slabs consume so much. Let's head up there really quickly. You can get a better look at it from above and kind of see what my thought process is, maybe. Alright, this is the channel. The walls are not up yet, but there is like a cool little design right here. You can't really tell what it is from so low down, so let me pillar up a little bit. It's just a little design to break up the slab pattern a little bit in the bottom of the water. It's nothing fancy. I might go through the effort to put in some glass and torches just in case I want to light it up, but it's going to be 3 blocks deep. Then over here, of course, the well. Then down here you get this pretty sick view. I like how that pathway's turning out. Using the snow to trace out, I think is pretty cool. I ran out of snow. I mean, snow's not hard to get, it's just tedious, right? I have to get some more. And I did run out of cobblestone. This is all I got left. It's weird, you know, to be working with massive quantities of materials in alpha is just kind of different, you know, it's not something that you'd expect. It's pretty cool though. But I really like how this is turning out. I'm pretty satisfied with it. I'm super happy I changed those. Now, I gotta go make another cobblestone run, so let's do that. Can I escape here somehow? Boom. I'll be pretty happy when this is done. It's gonna be, I think, pretty nice. I hope that I can get it finished before I do the world tour that I've been planning when it hits the 1-year anniversary. And that is, I think, August 10th? No, I think it's August 3rd. So actually, that's not super far away. I suppose that's just 3 weeks from now. So 3 weeks to finish this thing. I mean, that's not a terrible... who am I kidding? That's going to take forever. I don't mind delaying it. I would like that thing to be finished, you know, for the world tour. It looks pretty impressive over here already. I have no idea how large this is going to be in any respect. I'm doing the interior first on everything. because I don't know how I'm going to expand it, the exterior. I don't want to build an entire exterior only to add on more rooms and then having to tear down sections of wall. So interior first, exterior second. I think that's okay. I usually do it the opposite. I usually always start with the exterior first. I think most people do. And at some point I need to harvest this wheat that's growing up here. Well, I mean, I'm not really hurting for wheat because I've got plenty and I barely ever use it. People ask me, would I update this world? The answer is no. I would not update it. In consideration, it is kind of an interesting thought, but that would also, I think, ruin what makes this world special, which is the fact that it's in a very old version. The snow, the bright green grass, a lot of other stuff you would lose if I put this in Alpha 1.2. And I like consistency. I don't want to change things unless I have control over it. So if I were to change something, maybe I put a mod on here or something like that, add a new block to make things interesting, or add new paintings like I was talking about earlier, but I probably will keep it mostly the same. I do not want to upgrade the version because that takes the charm out of this. Maybe one day I will do a world of this caliber in a different version. Who knows, right? But as for now, I'm going to stick to this one. The next Minecraft world I want to make is a BTA world, though. That is for sure going to come out at some point. Usually I can tell how ambitious this project is based on how much cobblestone I've used up. Use this entire thing bar this 20 and then extra. There was extra stacks. I've used half of this now. Oh, I can fit some more in here. I will consume all of this. I know that I will. Whereas other buildings do take a few stacks here and there. Like maybe a double chest total. It's really hard for me to gauge that kind of thing, I guess. I wonder how much that took. That building was pretty expensive because even though it doesn't use as many slabs as that one, the interior is completely lined with cobblestone, so the walls are double thick. Here it was obviously cheap because it's a very small build, comparatively. Oh yeah, and the quarry, that took very, very little slabs. But I didn't need to point that out. It would be interesting to see statistics. I haven't got any way to gauge how much I've mined in this world, how many blocks I've broken, how much stone I've mined. There's no way for me to tell that kind of thing, and it's a shame, because I would really like to know. But, I mean, a 300-hour world, that, I think, is proof enough that I spent a lot of time on it. Oh no, get out of here. Wow, that was very abrupt. Oh my lord. Oh great, I'm gonna have to pick up all the cobblestone that fell off the railway too, aren't I? I didn't edit that at all. I didn't cut it down or anything. That just, hit twice, respawn. Dang. That's because I play hard mode. There really is no benefit to playing hard mode versus easy mode, that I can tell. In modern Minecraft, you do hard mode because you get better rates, right? You get a better rate of turning a villager into a zombie villager. Or I think you get a better rate of ender pearls spawning endermites. There's other stuff I'm sure that it affects. I mean, better loot, right? You can get monsters that spawn with armor. Although I don't know if that's a regional difficulty thing only, or if that's associated with game difficulty. I'm not totally sure, but regardless of that. Here, easy versus hard, all it does is, I think, change how much damage mobs do. Pretty sure that's it. We could test that. I could test that. I'd be curious if it would change fall damage. I doubt it. I think fall damage is a constant, but I think mob damage is different. We might as well test that out. I'm gonna walk over here, though, first. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, it's all over the trees. Oh man, okay. There's this scene in Minecraft Story Mode Season 2 when the main characters, they sneak into this temple thing. This is a temple that they tried to get in before, but they lost some friends doing it, like they died. So the guy who experienced this, who's leading this new group of people in, he... Wait a minute. I'm missing 4, and I know I'm missing 4 because I'm pretty sure I moved everything to my crafting grid. Does that mean that they're deleted when I die? I guess that makes sense. That sucks. Yeah, I guess that's the danger, huh? Storing stuff in your crafting grid. I mean, you can log out and log back in. It will still be there, but if you die, I guess it'll just be gone. Oh. Well, I don't know why I thought I could make that jump. That sucks. Huh. I was saying that, this guy, he went to this temple before with his friends. His friends died. He goes back into this temple, and then he sees, items scattered everywhere, and then he has PTSD, because that's his friend's like corpse. And all I could think when I saw that scene when I was younger was like, wouldn't they despawn? No, wouldn't they have despawned after 5 minutes? Let alone like what, 20 years is what the game's supposed to be? How do they track years in Minecraft anyway? How would they even do that? That's not even. There's no seasons. I mean, it's just sun up, sun down, sun up, sun down. That's it. How would you track a whole year? There's no point. Maybe they didn't track a whole year and they just said that it was a long time. I have no idea. Regardless, it just made me think of that. I heard a zombie, and then I remembered I wanted to do this test. So right now, I'm in hard mode. Let's get attacked one time. 3.5 hearts. How about that? Oh, his buddies joined him. Let's do normal. Kill one. Oh, sorry. Oop, oop, okay. Phew, I would have been dead if that was hard mode. Well, now I'm out of zombies to test with. But yeah, 2.5 hearts for normal mode. Now I wonder if it's the same for every mob. That was only 2 hearts. That was 2 hearts. Interesting, a ranged attack is different. Alright, might be pushing it. Oh, the spider only did 1. Oh, okay, okay. Eh. Suckers. Alright, I'm just gonna throw it in peaceful really quickly. I don't normally do this, of course, but I'm trying to conduct science. I'll just throw it in easy. That's interesting that the spiders were the weakest. I suppose I wouldn't have expected that. Alright, come on, let's find some mobs. They're so slow to spawn, I've noticed in Alpha. They just spawn very slowly. Wait, I think I saw something. Yep. Alright, easy mode. How much does he do? I'm guessing 1.5 hearts. No, just 1 heart. Interesting. The skeleton probably just does 1 heart as well. Yep. Interesting, it's more equal. So yeah, there's no clear advantage of using hard mode. I mean, it's only if you really want the game to be harder. Whereas modern Minecraft, I kind of feel like there's no reason for the different difficulty stages to exist. I don't know, I just don't feel like it's really necessary. I think you only need peaceful and non-peaceful. You know what I mean? It's just because easy and normal, you know, you get reduced rates for stuff. Of course, I guess it does make mobs slightly more harmless. I don't know. I've always ever done peaceful or hard. Peaceful or hard only. Never strayed from that. Thinking I should have a cook-off. I want to work on this pattern a little bit more before I do that, though. Okay, yeah, I've been going with this pattern here. I think it's a pretty cool pattern. Though I had this square over here and I wasn't sure if I should get rid of it. Though I could try without. I suppose I'll try it without. From above, I'll just do something like this. Right? It's harmless. Looks kind of strange. I want to see how I can compare different designs. This is what I've been doing most of the build. I've been creating different designs for things on different sides of the build and then comparing it. So this side, I will remove this. Yeah, something like that. That's okay, right? It's so humid out. It's been raining in short bursts, like 5-minute bursts very heavily, and then stopping. Like every hour or so, it's happening. And because of that, it's been making it so humid out. Alright, well, there's design number 1 for the corner. Design number 2 for the corner. I'm already liking keeping this thing here. Design number 3. I mean, they all look good. I do like this one better. I know that it kind of like... It's a tough one because over there it makes the path a little bit wider, whereas over here it makes the path look shorter because of the cube there. It's also kind of hard to see these against the background of the snowy landscape, I will admit. I'm trying to isolate it in my mind. It's not the easiest thing. How about this? I'll go with this design here, but let me try putting a snow block right there instead of that slab, and then I'll call it good, I think. But yeah, I'm gonna go with that design. They're only ever slightly different anyways. What I didn't think of is this. I figured I could put the backs on these last, but I can't do that, can I? I have to do torches first, then I have to do the slabs on top. There we go. I was talking earlier about blocks that I would add to the game. There's a mod, Alpha Advanced, that I was following for a while. It's a pretty cool mod. I made a bunch of textures for it. Of course, they didn't all get in because I'm not in charge. I just made them on the chance that they might be adopted, but also just because I like to make them. I watched this video a while ago. It's unfortunate that I forget who it was because it was a great video, but it was about the secrets hidden in Minecraft's textures, and it was basically like, oh, cactus. You know, cactus is just oak logs with a contrast turned down and then hue shifted to green and then lines drawn over it or something like that. That's cactus, you know. Similar with these stone slabs, it's just contrast down, lightened, and then a border drawn around that's, I think, the exact same color of stone, or very similar. So all of Minecraft's textures real early on were just kind of, only a few were made that were original, and they might have even used some kind of tool or something to generate them, and then they were just kind of copied endlessly into other stuff. Obsidian is original. That's original. But you know, the cobblestone texture was used in the making of the furnace, the dispenser, the dropper. I think sand and old gravel were the same texture, just, you know, hue shifted. Anyway, I made some of my own textures, and I used similar principles to create them. I kind of want to show them off, so that's what I'm going to do. Now, I could just edit them in post and talk about it, but I would, I think, much rather just show it like this. I made 3 types of framed glass. This is hard to see against this background, unfortunately, but I think they look pretty nice. So they look like that, right? This is a light bulb, and it is supposed to be made with copper, which was added to the mod. All it is I think the gold texture, and then the glass texture over that, and then this border that I drew around it. And it looks pretty cool, but it really looks more like a window or something. I made 2 types of marble. I made this one, and then I made this one, and I think this one's a lot better, but they are both the stone texture turned white, and then drawn over diagonally, just a little bit with a light brush. This one's a little bit more edited, and I like it. It looks better, I think, for a marble color. And cobbled marble. Look at this. I drew this completely from scratch. I looked at cobblestone, and I tried to figure out how it was made. And then using the same design principles, I just drew a bunch of circles around here, drew a bunch of shapes, and then filled in the center, and then slowly colored everything until it looked like it was cobbled marble. I think it turned out exceptionally well. I made 2 textures of drywall because I wanted a block that was kind of a different color. I don't really know what I think about these. I think this is stone. It looks like it's just stone, maybe rotated and then hue shifted. I have a few flint bricks textures. This one I like a lot. It's very uniform. This one was one, and it's downscaled. I didn't make an upscaled version, but it was to make the flint look rougher. This one is slightly rougher flint, but same kind of pattern. I like both of these a lot. I can't really decide which one I believe is my favorite. I think they're both pretty dang good. And they look wonderful when they're tiled together. I made this one. This is just called panel. It's supposed to be just something dark, like a dark brown block, because I wanted a dark brown block. But look at this. This is, you could probably tell, but it is an oak log, and then blurred and darkened, and then I drew the border around, which I really just lightened it to make this border, and then I added these little dots in the corners, and I think that looks amazing. So I think it would look really good tiled as like a baseboard or a floor or something. I made 2 versions, I think. What are the differences between these 2? I think this one has slightly more contrast, while this one's a little more blurry. I believe this one probably looks a little bit better in the game. There's this. This is a redstone block. You might be able to tell. It's just the standard ore block hue shifted to red, because I figured it'd be neat to have a redstone block in the game. I made birds. You can't see them. I wondered if it would be possible to make a rare event where in the sky, occasionally some birds would fly by. And I tried different shapes for how they would look way up in the sky. I even animated some of them, but I didn't want to put in the time and effort to animate so many of them. Like, these aren't complicated. That doesn't turn out very well. This is like a duck. That looks okay. Let's look at these. These are a bunch of custom flowers that I made. So I thought, what would be ways to get dyes in alpha? Because there are no dyes. And as far as flowers go, they're yellow and red. Of course, I don't really care. I don't really need dyes. I could just have more flower options. I made quite a few. This is delphinium, right? And it's kind of hard to tell. I did base these all off of real flowers. This is mint. I think the mint turned out very well. This is mountain mint, which I just tried out. I wanted to see how it would look if it was several flowers in one group. I really tried to make something unique with this one. This is Rose of Sharon, but I don't like this very much. The violet turned out a little bit better, but you also have to understand that the dandelion doesn't look very much like a dandelion, and the rose, it's just a single rose that grows in the ground. But that's not how roses grow. They grow in bushes, and this was corrected later in the development, right? Well, I decided I'd keep around some of that kind of goofy stuff, so some of these flowers are just standalone when they really should be in groups. There's a cyan rose I made from scratch because I couldn't find the actual texture anywhere. But it is the accurate color. I just found one that was upscaled and then created this one. I've created a downscaled one for every single one of these, but these are just so I could look at them, you know? And then last, I have a hydrangea. Again, this is not how hydrangeas grow in real life, but I think it looks okay. We're pretty much dominated by blue and green. I feel like I've tried to make this purple, but I can't see purple. I don't. So, there you go. Not many different colors. I wouldn't mind adding some more blocks via mod, but I don't want to screw up my world either, so I think I'm going to leave it be. The flint bricks are actually in Alpha Advanced, and I tried making a house out of them, and it is so time consuming because they're so hard to find. Once, you know, you actually want to have flint, it becomes very difficult. I mean, I have lots of flint now because I don't ever use it for anything, but when you do actually want to use it, it's quite a lot different. Anyway, I'm going to line this with obsidian, and I know that I don't have enough to do this, which sucks because this is the last of it. Which means I'm going to have to go AFK again, get some more obsidian. How many stacks did I get from a full run of that thing? Was it 4? I'm gonna have to, I'll be able to get 4 more. I feel that I've done a pretty decent job at conserving it, while still using it as a highlight. Like, it looks very cool down there. Now there was this time, and I really wish I could find the pictures, but there was this time that I started working on just a random cathedral, and the cathedral was made of obsidian and snow. And I also used like quartz slabs and stuff. This was in modern, this was in creative. It was on my laptop, my MacBook that I used to play on. And I think it turned out exceptional, but it fell prey to that habit that I have where I create a really nice looking section of something and then I don't know how to create the other sections of it and match the same tone. You know, I just become obsessed with copying the same pattern over. And that's not a lot of fun. I want to see if I can find it. It might take a little bit of digging. Hello everybody, and today we're playing modern Minecraft. Just kidding. Shoot. I think it's right here. I went over to my MacBook, I copied this world onto my hard drive, and now I transferred it to my PC, which was difficult because my MacBook, the keyboard doesn't work, and my hard drive is password protective, so it's a little bit of a grind. But this was my creative world that I had on... ignore that one. On my MacBook, and I don't know, I just tested builds out here. And I'm not going to give you a tour of this because that's not what this video is for, although I do really like this one. It's too bad that it's not complete. But I mean, I'm not any kind of crazy builder or anything, but I used to be on a build team for Kinetic Network. They host some servers or something. They were I don't even know if it's out, I'm not tracking anymore, but they were launching this network called Kingdoms, and it was like this RPG server thing. I used to build for it, but I left because I was, you know, doing a lot of free labor for nothing. Anyway, this is the cathedral thing that I was talking about, and I never really got very far on it, except I built the one section of it, and I thought it looked awesome, so I built another section, and another section, and then I started building it in survival, but that never panned out. The reason I brought this whole thing up in the first place is because I think that I can kind of utilize some of the design principles from this cathedral in my alpha build. I've already designed this on my own. I mean, I don't think it's a problem to use some of my own work already, right? Although this doesn't use any obsidian, it really is just snow and quartz. Even though they're very similar, they're slightly different enough to the point where I think that it does look pretty cool, and the obsidian roofs are awesome. It's too bad I never finished it, oh well. Also, I never built a cathedral, I don't know how they work. I think I was building different sections of it to see if I could copy. Look at this one. This was the entrance. This was super cool. Look, I did a skeleton head as a doorknob. This is a real trip down memory lane. I haven't opened this world in literal years. There's one I tried to use a different color for the accents. I think it still looks cool, but I prefer how it was before. This one I tried to make a double wide entrance. I was like, maybe I'll do the entrances the length of 2 sections, but I didn't like how it looked. And then these are different towers. Those towers I could definitely put to use. But yeah, now that I have this world, maybe I'll check it out and like maybe I can use it to help me come up with some designs. Might as well show this off. I was practicing on building people and like anatomy, and this is supposed to be like a cartoonized version of me, I guess. It looks so weird. And then this I was working on, which I think this looks fantastic, but I could never figure out the arms. I just never could, which is really unfortunate because I thought I did great with everything else. Also the face. I didn't have a face for so long. I just didn't want to add one because I figured I might screw it up. I just freehanded it too, which is why I'm so proud of it. I feel like it did come out very well. Alright, enough of this modern Minecraft stuff. You didn't come here to look at modern Minecraft. That's better. Well, with all that being said and done, I am exhausted. I'm very, very tired. So I think I am just gonna call it good. I mean, there was pretty much no way I was going to get this done in one video, so come on. Maybe the next video, probably not. Suppose a proper ending would be for me to finally remove this crafting table. Chop chop. Alright. Yeah, well, thank you for watching, and thank you to my members who help me stay afloat in this world, you know? I mean the real world, not this one. This one's fine. You guys are literally my lifeline right now, and I sincerely appreciate it. If you want to become a member, it supports me, it helps me make this content every week, it gives me the time to do it, and it also keeps sponsorships off the channel, or at least it helps me justify keeping sponsorships off the channel. Besides that, please subscribe, it really helps, like, that kind of stuff. I've been Monster, and have a good night.